Natalie Esquire, no place in the game for what Sophie Cunningham did. That warrants further review and penalty from the league. Penalty from the league, huh? Penalty from the league, huh? Natalie Esquire. Penalty from the league when Marina Marbury assaulted Caitlin Clark. Krista said, "Oh, I get so it's sweet when Caitlin Clark getting blindsided. Who, mind you, should be ejected, but Sophie gives JC a hard foul and no place in the game for that." Sophie Cunningham did. You ever get tired of talking out your this league is full of nothing. Man, I'm telling you guys, this league, bro.
HIS is completely insane, not just wacky. To help Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham essentially body-blocked the entire WNBA hate parade. Now, an analyst wants her arrested for the acts of generosity this league has witnessed. At this rate, referees and riot shields will be required. Sophie played security guard, best friend, and emotional support for bouncer Al-Anon in the full WWE, but with less spandex and more drama. Come with a helmet and welcome to the madness.
As we saw last night, Sophie Cunningham sent a clear message to JC Sheldon last night. Of course, with the foul at the very end of the game. By the way, all of a sudden the refs were all about ejecting people out of games at that point. Much too late. It was a total officiating failure again. God, if it's not a physical incident, it's an officiating failure we're talking about. And frankly, that's nearly every—
Sophie Cunningham was detained, which is correct, since in the current WNBA circus, it is illegal to defend a teammate. Welcome to the league where common sense is non-existent. And envy controls the refs, and the court are reportedly too preoccupied with upgrading their resumes to really raise the alarm. If you want justice, be ready for the most absurd collapse in women's basketball this year.
Esquire is literally going on a rant. She's going on a rant right now about this whole situation with the league and what they doing with Sophie Cunningham. This is crazy. This is crazy right now. Crazy work.
Here is what actually transpired. The referees, who blink slowly and pretend to be watching birds soar over the arena roof, are more likely to see WNBA walking target Caitlin Clark get body slammed into the hardwood than a WWE novice. Cunningham. Sophie had the gall to punch back on behalf of Caitlin and declare, "Not today, Satan." Suddenly, commentators are calling for her to be taken away in handcuffs as if she had just robbed a Chase bank with a hockey stick.
Shout out to Sophie, the trophy, half of the Blonde Bombers, Cunningham. Sophie Cunningham held it down. Sophie, let me know. I will Uber Eats, DoorDash you, whatever you want to eat tonight. You want some Popeyes? You want me to send you a Chipotle bowl? You want to go high end? You want some towel? Whatever you want, I will walk to Indiana. I will walk barefoot to Indiana.
Let's clarify this. Sophie Cunningham didn't behave out of character. She didn't bring brass knuckles to a layup or toss a chair. Instead, she confronted a team while they were fighting in a parking lot. Basketball game. But for some reason, this display of basic humanity has set off a chain reaction of commentators clutching pearls, believing Sophie to be the next Al Capone.
And 1,000,000% did what was deserved to JC Sheldon. And the commentators are on the money. They're on the money. Like, someone has commented this. I feel like Sophie Cunningham is the only one who would have done something back if she was on the floor. Sophie Cunningham got her. Sophie Cunningham got her. And I mean this when I say this. This would have been a flagrant 2, except for the fact that they allowed Marina Mabrey did what she did. This possibly should be a flagrant 2. She got her around the neck. And then JC Sheldon gets up. And then Sophie immediately goes at JC Sheldon. Grabs her. Like, I'm okay with this being a flagrant 2, by the way. I'm actually okay with that. I'm okay with that. But, like, not when Marina Mabrey got away with it. Not when...
Throughout the season, Fever has been taking cheap shots left and right. The authorities stand there like broken wax statues, while shoulder checks, face slaps, and elbows are thrown with all the elegance of a drunk kangaroo, and no punishment is given. If it's against Caitlin Clark, it's totally fine, but heaven Help you if you defend CAITLYN ... double quotes seems to be the new WNBA mantra. The WNBA's moral police suddenly charge out like mall cops chasing a child brandishing a Nerf gun. When it's gloriously essential, Sophie Cunningham steps up once, and now we have keyboard warriors tweeting like she did something Tanya Harding. And let's face it, the animosity toward Caitlin Clark isn't subtle anymore. It's not a matter of rivalry. There's a league full of players watching someone younger, more talented, and much more popular steal their spotlight like it's a half-off clearance sale at Macy's, and instead of stepping up their game, they're out here throwing cheap elbows and acting like it's justified. Rookie initiation is definitely not difficult basketball. It's jealousy and resentment. I don't need a podium or a press conference, Sophie Cunningham declared, letting her actions speak for her. She shoved Callan and put an arm around him in return, sending a message to the entire Sun squad that stated, "You mess with her, you mess with all of us," and for that, she should be arrested. But no, she needs a celebration, a gold medal, and perhaps a Netflix documentary called Sophie vs. the WNBA crowd.
Especially if Sophie Cunningham is going to continue to fight people for messing with Caitlin Clark, because it feels like Caitlin Clark is going to get treated in a certain way in this league for a long time. She's not a rookie anymore. Okay? She's already proved herself. She's won. And then there were some, ladies last night that were trying to go a little physical. And in last year, I think something we noticed, and I think a lot of people noticed, is when Caitlin would get bullied, nobody would do nothing.
That's right.
Nobody would do nothing. It was like, hey, they didn't know, like, whoa, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe people are doing this to Caitlin Clark. Teammates weren't jumping in there. They bring in Sophie Cunningham. I had no idea. Sophie Cunningham was a black belt at the age of 6.
Yeah. Yep.
Boom!
Wow.
JC Sheldon, that's cute. You want to poke her in the eye?
And what's even crazier, where is the outrage over the 900 flagrant fouls committed by the Sun? Where is the demand to eject the entire officiating crew for allegedly confusing Kane Clark with a pinata? If anyone should be arrested, it's the referees for impersonating qualified officials. The WNBA analyst who is demanding her arrest most likely watched the entire sequence while eating popcorn. Let's take a moment to discuss the referees. Stevia Wonder is beginning to feel bad for them, since they miss more fouls than your uncle does when it comes to tax deadlines. These referees would still be blinking slowly in anticipation of a commercial break if the whole FIBA roster were transformed into a UFC highlight reel, but perhaps they are simply taking orders because rumors are circulating that the commissioner's office is making every effort to discredit Caitlin Clark because, heaven forbid, the league's most exciting player does shine. As a result, we now have a conspiracy theory that is more credible than half of the content on Netflix, and the referees are merely carrying out orders from above. If this is accurate, then not only Sophie should receive a medal, but all of the Fever players should as well, since they refused to leave the court and start their own league. Let's not forget how personal this attack was. When Sophie intervened, it wasn't just sportsmanship. It was self-defense. The Sun team wasn't playing basketball. They were playing mean girls in sneakers. It was personal, bitter, and evident. Who don't need a slow-motion magic replay to see that Caitlin Clark was singled out for insulting someone's grandmother at a family reunion.
I don't understand. The fans are speaking loud. There's no confusion. But fans don't like to be ignored. They don't. Well, it's a vocal minority. No, it's not. No, it's not. The new fans outnumber the old fans 3-1, maybe even 4-1. It is a vote.
Sophie's actions weren't an assault. Rather, they were a mindset shift and a long overdue reality check for a league that has prioritized upholding its power structure over safeguarding its players. There is nothing criminal about Sophie Cunningham. She is heroic. The WNBA analyst's call for her arrest is satirical and humorous. It's like clown shoes on an adult. Speaking of clown shoes, have you noticed how some fans have reacted? Suddenly, everyone is a lawyer, referee, and behavioral specialist. They are analyzing slow-motion footage as if it were the Zapruder movie, citing league rules as if they passed the bar exam, and criticizing Sophie as risky, while applauding players who have been tackling Caitlin Clark like she's holding the last piece of cake at a birthday party. The truth is that you can't have it both ways. If you want a powder puff league, go knit something. Basketball is a physical and emotional sport, and sometimes when the referees aren't doing their jobs well, you have to stand your ground. Additionally, If you want to start filing assault charges, you better get busy because half of the WNBA will go to jail for every elbow, shove, trip, and grab of your handcuffs. The courthouse will need a larger bench, but no, let's make Sophie the scapegoat.
Around the world from an angle. Look, Caitlin gets her eye rigged. That's basketball. That is not basketball. Okay, there was a foul there. That was just basketball. And look, I don't want to hear anything about race. That's a white.
In all honesty, it's becoming embarrassing. The WNBA ought to be happy that someone like Caitlin Clark is attracting attention, money, and real significance, but instead they treat her like an intruder. And now they're attacking the one teammate who dared to say, "We've had enough." Every team should strive for loyalty and loudly, proudly, and without apologies. While everyone pretended it was just difficult defense, Sophie was the solution to weeks of witnessing Caitlin being shoved, pushed, and treated like a rag doll at a demolition derby. Let's face it, the WNBA has turned into a soap opera, and not the enjoyable sort. It's more about everyone being envious of the new girl and less about sports drama. So let's ruin her life. You know who typically behaves like that middle schooler? Sophie's intervention sent a shockwave through the court, shouting, "We're not letting this slide anymore." This league was meant to be a showcase for talent, grit, and competition, not a recreation of Mean Girls Elbow edition. People were frightened, because the moment someone pointed out the absurdity, it threatened to reveal the extent of the dysfunction. Suddenly, analysts clutched their pearls, coaches looked uneasy, and players who had previously been all about girl power became allergic to accountability.
The commentators were on the money. The commentators literally said they're on the money. They said that situation was on the referees because the referees had just done their job earlier in the game. Sophie Cunningham.
It's not about rules, it's about control. Sophie broke the unwritten agreement that Caitlin Clark was fair game for abuse when she dared to say no, and worse, she meant it. That's what has everyone in a panic, which is why the analysts went crazy on live TV screaming for cuffs like Sophie had just committed grand theft. The analysts have been cheering on every other foul, shoulder check, and dirty scream against Caitlin all season long, but the moment someone fights back, it's a crisis, and it's too far now. It's criminal. The more the league tries to portray Sophie as a villain, the more people realize how messed up this whole situation is. It's not just about one game or one altercation. It's about power, pettiness, and refusing to let a rising star like Caitlin succeed without sabotaging it. And guess what? The fans are watching the media narrative as Sophie didn't just defend her teammate. She exposed the entire farce, whether the league likes it or not. That kind of bravery is contagious because if she can do it, others will follow. And no amount of whiny analysis or fake outrage will stop the shift.
Teammates, you got real teammates. They show up for you. And when they show up for you, everybody talking about where the goons at? Who gonna protect Caitlin Clark? Because now you see, it done went from the WNBA just hating on her and the sisters hating on her to now it's white on white crime now, right? So everybody jealous and envious of damn Caitlin Clark. Shut up. That's the reason y'all doing it. Don't act like y'all playing basketball. You know who not to hit like that. In basketball, NBA, WNBA.
Sophie is deserving of praise. She was visible, non-violent, decisive, and, most importantly, she reminded everyone that confronting a dysfunctional system is not wrong, rather, it is revolutionary. The game wasn't broken by Sophie Cunningham. Rather, she reminded everyone of how it should be played. Protect your teammates, stand up for what's right, and push back if someone crosses the line. It's basketball 101 with a side of backbone. So to all the analysts who are clamoring for arrest warrants and attempting to make Sophie into a cautionary tale, sit down, take a deep breath, and sip some water, because what you're witnessing isn't illegal. Rather, it's called teamwork. We're not here to watch a gladiator match. We're here for basketball, and if the referees won't do their jobs, it's high time someone else did. Sophie, the real MVP of the moment, didn't just protect Caitlin Clark. She made a statement that every Fever fan, fair-minded viewer, and true basketball fan can support. If you're reading this, keep your head up. The fans have your back, the sane ones do. You don't deserve handcuffs, though. You deserve a championship ring, a standing ovation, and a new job title. Chief Justice of the Court because you knew exactly what needed to be done, while the others wriggled around in bewilderment.
Nah, enough's enough, bruh. Enough is enough, bruh. What is going on? WNBA, y'all need to get this under control. This is ridiculous. Marina Mabry, you just put yourself in the Dejanay Carrington box. You dirty slime ball player, you come and blindside Caitlin Clark. Marina Mabry assaulted and tried to fight Caitlin Clark today. This is ridiculous.
Guys, today we are here the night after WNBA Fight Night. Sophie Cunningham putting JC Sheldon in a clinch. Marina Mabry targeting Caitlin Clark. Folks, how is everybody doing this morning? In case you guys don't know yet, Sophie Cunningham's jersey, oh yeah, Fever fans spend that bread, folks. Sophie Cunningham's jersey out of stock. Look at that. No size in stock. A small, a medium, a large, an extra large, a double XL. You're going to have to get one custom made. Sophie Cunningham stands up for Caitlin Clark, and overnight,
And to Caitlin Clark, keep going. You now have Sophie. The rest of the league is considering hurling elbows without facing any repercussions. Good luck. The next time you see Sophie Cunningham taking over, remember that the new sheriff in town is wearing a jersey rather than a badge. Perhaps the WNBA will finally understand that standing up for your teammate isn't a crime, it's the entire purpose of the game. Court, don't think criminal, think queen, think protector, think the only one with a backbone in a league full of envious elbows and blind referees.